It is draft day. You know, Tiki, one of the things about this show that I think we always try to do, sometimes we're actually successful in it or with it, we identify problems, and anybody can really do that. Anybody can identify a problem. We also try to solve problems or solve dilemmas or provide perspective. I've got a question for you, and I've got a question for everybody. Can I hit you with the question?
Please do.
All right. So on March 2nd, 2020, the New York Knicks hired Leon Rose as their team president. Now, since then, here's what we've gotten from Leon. We got one really good season, by the way. Couple of pretty decent draft picks. Stabilized a mess. No bluster from him. No leaks. An actual, they look like an organization, you know? Functional, at times ascending, you know, spirited. They kind of brought basketball back for the Knicks fans.
For a season.
Oh, yeah. I got that. But then you look at Leon Rose, right? And obviously the draft is tonight. That's why I'm saying this. You look at Leon Rose and you think about the criticisms for Cashman. I know baseball's different than basketball here. I get that. But Cashman in the offseason. Sandy Alderson throughout, you know, the last decade roughly. Brody Van Wagenen, obviously. Gettleman, rightfully so. Knocked around left and right. Joe Douglas. You know, it's already been established. If this doesn't work this year, Joe's going to have big problems, and I'm probably okay with that as well. It was my understanding that Leon Rose was brought here as one of the most powerful agents in the NBA. If you are one of the most powerful agents in the NBA, you are, by extension, a legit power broker. So now I've got the question for you. When, and I already know the answer because at least for me it's rhetorical, it should be tonight. When do we get and I'm serious, the franchise-altering trade or the franchise-altering draft pick? I don't know why Leon Rose, and I'm not looking to penalty, like I'm not looking to get on him unnecessarily. I'm rooting for him. I know he's smart. I still kind of believe in his vision. But it's go time. Like, he was brought here to make something happen, and something's got to happen starting tonight.
But does it feel like the Knicks are ready to be relevant in the East? Yes. The one season they had with Julius Randle, it was a pandemic season. There was nobody in the arenas. Julius Randle was free to be Julius Randle, and he had a unbelievable All-NBA, second team, All-NBA season. But other than that little blip, does it feel like the Knicks are a team that's ready to be relevant? The answer is no.
Well, can I challenge you on that real quick?
Okay, go ahead.
Because that's not how I would answer that. I think in the conventional sense, you're right. I would probably agree. I would agree with that, yes. But, again, he was brought here to bring in those franchise-altering pieces, which changes the trajectory of viability.
He was,
which he has not done yet.
That was 2 years ago.
And we're still waiting.
2 seasons. He's going into his 3rd season. I don't like the fact that Leon Rose has said "Ugats" after the season.
Stealing my word
he
there,
said
Barber.
Nothing. He's not talking about anything. He's not saying this is our plan, this is our direction, this is the project that we've set ourselves on. Think of the Philadelphia 76ers. All they could talk about for years was the process. So even if there wasn't progression in that whatever mythical process, at least there was a talking point. At least there was something that fans could say, well, just wait till the process works out. At least they can say that. The Knicks aren't doing that. However, it's only been 2 seasons. And yes, I know that Leon Rose has relationships with the Carmelo Anthonys of the world and the Devin Bookers of the world. And Embiid was actually one of his clients as well. LeBron was until he left to go with Chris Paul. And so he has these high-profile connections. But I also think that the NBA has evolved from when he was a high-profile agent.
In 2 years?
No. Forget the 2 years.
Because he was a high-profile agent before he was hired.
I'm talking about back in the early 2000s and the mid 2010s when superstars were the reason that you won championships. That's no longer the only reason that you win a championship. And I got to believe that he has a plan, and it's not superstar-based. It's let me rebuild this thing with some pieces that are going to be valuable at some point. the Emmanuel Quickleys of the world, who I don't think he's a starting point guard that's going to be an all-star, but can he be this? And I ask you this at the end of the season, can he be the sixth man of the year? Absolutely, he can be. Obi Toppin starting to find himself a little bit, especially after he got some chances to play when Julius Randle got put on the bench. You look at a kid like Miles McBride, like Deuce. Like, we didn't even see him yet.
Sims. I'm not burying him at all.
So at some point, those guys are going to play. At least they better. They're going to play, and with the belief and the little quick snapshots that we've seen of them, Sims as well, who kind of has some redundancy, but that's beside the point, right? I think there is a plan, and it starts with building the supporting cast for whoever becomes the superstar, whoever I bring in as a superstar.
You can't tell me there's a plan when you're playing a point guard who's 33-year-old broken down Derrick Rose. What plan is that?
It's been 2 years. Derrick Rose is not. Derrick Rose is
just a starting point guard before he got hurt.
But who is Derrick Rose?
I don't know, but Leon Rose brought him in and kept him.
Yes, because Derrick Rose.
And I like Derrick Rose, but come on, we got to turn the page.
He's a veteran who gives
move up to the fourth spot.
Who's given a presence, and all he's there to do is to make it somewhat interesting. They're not trying to win now because they're not relevant now. They don't have the roster to be relevant now.
But he wasn't hired yesterday.
He was hired 2 years ago, BG.
Okay,
2 years.
He's had a couple of drafts,
he's
a
going
couple of summers. What are we waiting for?
That's what I just went through. Those couple of drafts were okay.
Exactly. Who drafted him?
From building a base of a team.
I understand that.
We're waiting for the superstar. And let's face it, sometimes you just got to get lucky with the superstar.
Or you got to make something happen, which I think is what at least I thought Leon Rose was bringing to the table.
It's been 2 years.
Dude, you make it seem like it's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 years.
It's been wait. When you say
how long did the process take? How long did it?
Well, it didn't work, so that's the worst example to use.
I mean, the Philadelphia 76ers
they broke it apart. One guy's in Brooklyn.
Okay, but they're always kind of relevant when it comes to postseason basketball.
Let me throw this.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm not talking about winning a championship. I mean, everybody wants to win a championship. Yeah. You know how hard it is to win a championship?
Yes, trust me, I do.
That's right.
How about this fact, guys? Do you want your head to spin? Hey, Hoff, give me a good 90s song. I don't know. Anything from the mid-90s.
1994 in particular.
And 1994, right? 1990. It was a very good year. It's a great year, actually, because outside of the World Series getting canceled and Donnie Mattingly not having a chance to play for the World Series. But 94 was glorious. Rangers win the Cup. The Knicks almost did. We know what happened with the Rockets. You know what else happened in 1994? This is impossible to even fathom. I swear to God, if you gave me a project, all right, if you gave me a project, and in 1994 I was in college. You regulate any stealing of his right?
It is.
In 1994 I was in college. You said, "Hey, listen, young BT, here's what I need you to do. I need you for the next 2+ decades to draft player after player. And not one of those players that you draft will be signed to a second contract."
Wow. That's
by the New York Knicks.
That's a damning statistic.
Charlie Ward, who was drafted in 94, was the last great song. Was the last Knick drafted in the first round to see a second contract. Now, that's not only on road, obviously. That's just
exactly. That's nothing to do.
I know it doesn't, but it's just a broad stroke of the Knicks.
I hear you, but this is a different Knicks team.
But why? But why? Because Donnie Walsh, I love Donnie. Donnie couldn't land the big fish when it came to the free agents, and it was kind of sabotage, whatever. Isaiah Thomas couldn't do that. We thought, at least I thought, that Leon Rose had the juice around the league, and I don't think I'm alone as a Knick fan or as a Knick observer. There's no way I thought. Let me put it this way.
What
Let's
exactly
say the Mets.
What exactly are you saying?
Well, I'm saying that it's time to do. I'm saying what I said 10 minutes ago when we started the show. It's time to do something.
Okay.
The hell are we waiting for?
But I think he has.
Move up and get Jaden Ivey. Get your point guard, and let's rock and roll.
Well, see, I think
that's what you need to do.
That's a no-brainer. And I think if that happens.
But I don't know if they're going to do it.
Yeah, but Sacramento's got to want to come off of the 4
They
pick,
do. They didn't even interview the kid,
Well,
Tiki. They didn't speak to him.
Well, it's because Jaden Ivey decided to not show up for his workout.
He's not going to Sacramento.
Because he doesn't want to go to Sacramento. He did not show up for his workout. That's why they didn't interview him. That's why he didn't visit. Now, does that mean anything about Jaden Ivey? Yeah, probably that he's smart and doesn't want to go play for a franchise that's been nowhere and kind of purgatory for the last 4 or 5 years. I can understand that. But Sacramento's got to want to come off that pick, and the Knicks got to really contemplate all that it's going to take to get there. Now, the only reason I'm pushing back here, BT, is because, and again, Leon Rose hasn't said jack. I wish I could just understand where his mindset is. He hasn't said anything, but it's been 2 seasons, and the things that I've seen with the Quickleys and the Toppins and the Sims who played a little bit at the end as well. I see talent there, and I think he's done a good job. And the problem is that the Julius Randle emotion has obscured our view of what they're trying to do. Because all we care about is Julius Randle. Like, all we talk about is Julius Randle. Like, forget the fact that R.J. Barrett kind of stepped into a pretty good, big role, right? And became a player. I'm not saying he's a superstar. I'm not saying he's going to be a perennial all-star.
He just turned 22.
He just turned 22. Like, there's some talent here.
But Rose didn't draft him.
Of course, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but he's accenting what R.J. Barrett can become. But the Julius Randle thing, it blocks our mind about what these Knicks can become. Now, it does start today in a sense, but I think you gotta default to have some faith in the guy as opposed to calling for his head.
No. I didn't call for
after 2 years.
You'll know when I call for somebody's head. Everybody, I don't like to do that. And I very rarely do that. I'm not calling for his head. I'm just saying I need some action. Number one. And I need somebody, and I thought it would be you, but you haven't done it yet. I need somebody to explain to me why Leon Rose seemingly is immune to either criticism or the evaluation, the raw evaluations that other presidents in this city receive.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm waiting for an answer.
Well, you know why? You know why there isn't that evaluation of him, like visceral from the fan base? Because he doesn't say anything that you can go crush. And, maybe that's intentional. And being an agent, he's probably seen it. He's seen his players get crucified over whatever. He's seen the negative media attention that comes from saying the wrong thing and then having that dissected over and over again. I think Leon Rose, to be honest with you, is protecting whatever his build is, or whatever his concept of a build is. And so, yeah, it is frustrating he doesn't say anything, but if he doesn't say anything, we then can't criticize him either.
All right, 877-337-6666. Listen, I don't think I'm alone here, and this is not a bury or a hit job on Leon Rose. I think if I had to grade him, I'd probably give him about a B-, maybe a C+. Hired a good coach. There's been stabilization. There's no doubt. I'm not saying that it's a complete F. This is not Idzik. No, not at all. But I think let me frame it this way. Let's say the Mets or the Yankees. All right, we're coming off just a wretched, listless, extended period of nothingness. This malaise. There is apathy with the fans. The teams, although Knicks fans are never apathetic, I got you on that. But you know what I mean. The team was awful, just bad, right? And they said, you know what? Kind of like the Mets did with Brody, though that didn't work. We're going to actually bring in somebody that we think will lure great players here. We're going to hire Scott Boras. I'm not follow me on this. You cannot refute this. We're going to bring in Scott Boras to coerce, to bring, to incentivize all the great players to come to our city.
Yes.
Whether it's through trades, back channels, power broker, making it happen. And he was hired 2+ years ago, and not a single big move was made. What would we be saying? What the hell is Scott Boras waiting for?
Wait, so
what's the difference with Leon Rose?
So did Leon Rose say that he was doing this? Is this
but he's a power-broking agent. Why do you think they hired him?
Because of his relationships in the industry?
Okay, and what fruit has the relationships besides Kentucky players provided?
But hold on. Did Leon Rose never said, I'm going to bring in all of these vets that I have relationships with, whether they are my clients or not. Right? I mean, there's really only one that's really compelling right now. That's Devin Booker. He's not going anywhere, obviously. Who else is?
But isn't that inferred when you hire somebody with that skill set?
I mean,
isn't that the
Joel
expectation?
Embiid
What am
is
I
the other
missing
one.
here? Huh?
I mean, yes and
Besides
no.
nothing.
Yes and no. I mean, yes, because that sounds good, but no, because that's actually hard to do.
Okay.
At the same time, we got to realize that these big
Lakers did it. They got Davis.
These big stars, they have to want to come to New York, right? It's easy to want to go to Miami with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. It's easy to want to go to L.A. because of the history of the organization and the fact that LeBron is there. It's easy to want to go to some places. New York hasn't been a destination for basketball in a long time.
You're
BT.
totally right. And I thought that Leon Rose was going to change that, given his relationships. We're going in circles here, buddy.
But you still have to change what the New York Knicks are.
But don't you change what and who the Knicks are by bringing the players that we thought you would bring here?
So that's a top-down approach to making New York relevant, New York Knicks basketball relevant. But I think what Leon Rose is doing is building a base. He's building bottom up as opposed to top down. And then once there is a foundation that's not dependent upon a star, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, whoever, bouncing whenever the hell they feel like it, that's when some of these stars will start to come to New York. I think that's what he's trying to do. He's just not telling us that that's what he's trying to do.
All right, Tiki and Tierney on the Fan, 877-337-6666 inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that at Town Fair, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Listen, I'm a big boy with this. If Knicks fans, if you really think I'm wildly off base with this, by all means, let me know. What do you want to see happen tonight? I got to get into this as well. Kevin Durant, I was thinking about this on the way in. Kevin Durant, to me, has made the biggest, hear me on this, the biggest mistake that any superstar in any sport in my lifetime has made. Want to get into that as well. Rough one for the Mets with the injuries, sick one for the Yankees. Up all in, yep. On the catwalk, yeah, on the catwalk. Are you kidding me? Hey, Orbiter, suck on this. How's that bomb look?